introduce you to Torey Gilbertson today, and he is a GBM patient. He's got some really interesting words of wisdom through his experience. He was born and raised in Wyoming. He received his Doctor of Physical Therapy degree from Pacific University in Oregon in 2003. Throughout his career, Torey has worked with children of all ages as a physical therapist in Issaquah, Washington, both in a clinic setting and across 3 different school districts in the area, accumulating over 10 years of experience. He further advanced his education by earning a PhD in rehabilitation services from the University of Washington in 2015. In late 2015, Torey married the love of his life, and they purchased a home in Snohomish County in 2016. Since 2015, Torey has served as an assistant teaching professor in the Department of Rehab Medicine, Division of Physical Therapy at the University of Washington. In July of 2020, Torey was himself diagnosed with GBM after he experienced persistent yawning, increasing daily headaches, nausea, vomiting, and cognitive slowdown noticed by his wife. He began wearing the Optune Geo device in January of 2021. Torey, you have the floor, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Delanne, and thank you to the End Brain Cancer Initiative for inviting me. Of the tens of thousands of Optune Geo users out there that you could have picked to talk about their experience with Optune Geo, I'm very humbled that I am the one who was selected for this. You already went over a lot of my journey with brain cancer in that bio, so I will just skip to the juiciest parts, and that diagnosed July of 2020 in the height of COVID, and just prior to that, my life, I don't think could have been more perfect than what it was. The job was perfect. My wife was ideal, loved the house. I built some huge garden beds that we were growing vegetables and some berries in. Things were wonderful, and until the time I went to the hospital to find out that I had a mass. My surgery left me with very limited use of the left side of my body, so I had to work very hard in inpatient rehab to gain that back. That second picture in is the thumbs up with my left hand, because it was actually very exciting that I could move my left hand and get my thumb up like that. And then I learned of my diagnosis of glioblastoma a week or 2 after my surgery, and it was the diagnosis that I feared the most. So there was a lot of feelings that came up with that. But my wife was by my side literally at least 20 hours a day throughout the rehab process, 24 hours a day as long as they let her stay. And then when they finally started kicking her out at night, a week or so after my surgery, she came back first thing in the morning and was with me for every step of the rehab process. So getting right into the crux of it, I have been wearing Optune Geo since January of 2021. And for those of you that are considering using it or new users, I highly recommend going to the NovoCure website and requesting a buddy call, or the Optune Geo website, so you can talk to an experienced user about their experiences as well. I have had the privilege of having many of those phone calls myself. So I know that I've got a time limit, so need to keep to it, but I've got so many tips to talk about. But one of the things that I really make sure that I try to do is work out to get a good sweat on array change days. It makes getting these arrays off so much easier. I had a monthly reminder set just so that my device support specialist didn't always have to reach out and remind me to upload my data, so she could look at my usage and my alarms and some battery issues and everything else. But now with the my NovoCure app, it sends a monthly reminder to upload your data. So that takes a lot of the self reminders out of it. It's really nice that it's automated. I also love that app to be able to track my own usage. You can use it to troubleshoot alarms if you're not fluent in Morse code. And because there's different beep patterns that mean different things. If there's an error with the machine, fortunately, those are fewer and further between for me at this point, other than the battery is low. But that the app has those same alarms that you can listen to compare with what your machine is doing with sounds on the app. Plus, you can order supplies right there on the app as well. And NovoCure has been wonderful with sending supplies as needed. Some of the other things that I've told people is just taking breaks as needed. I know it's recommended to wear it 3 to 4 days at a time before you take a break, but if you're a sweaty human like I am, I change 3 times a week now. But in the summer, when it's hotter and I'm doing more outside, I up that changing as needed. I'm not afraid to sweat at this point and know that I can just change my arrays if it's important, because I also value my skin health and acknowledge that it's way more important to change arrays more frequently or take longer breaks to allow your skin to heal than it is to make sure you've got the highest usage percentage possible. I know a lot of people strive for upper 90s in usage, and now I'm happy if I get the minimum 75% because I've been taking a little bit more breaks and really taking care of my skin. I did have a spot develop recently, and I had to be off of Optune for about 3 or 4 days, and that was the one time my usage dipped below 75%. And had I been a little more diligent going into it, maybe I could have avoided that, but it's one of those things that happens. I also like to use a little piece of foam shelf liner in the various places that I tend to keep my Optune Geo device. This helps to just mark it as kind of my spot to not clutter up with other things. And it also functions really functionally, where when I set the machine on and then maybe forget to pick it up when I walk away just a little bit, that it gives a lot more friction, so I get more of a gentle head tug than just pulling the machine off the surface that it was on. I've already talked about array changing as much as you want, but using the app or calling my NovoCure to get whatever supplies you might need is really, really handy. I have an extra battery, and I got an extra few of the wall units, so I can just plug in and not use battery power at places where I'm at home and spend a lot of time, such as the living room, my home office, and by my bedside, so I don't have to worry about changing batteries during the middle of the night. And even if the supply that you want might not be available to order on the app, you can always call my NovoCure to ask for other supplies that you know they might have. And they're always happy to provide those for you as well. So when it comes to actually changing the arrays, I already talked about working up a good sweat. My favorite activity is getting on the exercise bike or doing some yard work or housework or whatever. But I really like to get that sweat. It makes it so much easier to get those arrays off when it comes time. And then when I shower, I like to use an anti-dandruff shampoo. For me, it's Dove Dermacare, just to because it has a lot of extra moisturizing in it. Then when I get out of the shower, I dampen my head with warm water. I use a very thin layer of shave gel for sensitive skin. And then I use the electric pit bull razor that my NovoCure provides. I do kind of 2 passes. One with clockwise circles, and then I rinse it off, and then one with counterclockwise circles on one side of my head and rinse it off. Then I repeat for the other side and the back. So I always shake that razor head off as much as I can so I'm not dripping a lot of water all over. But it works out pretty well. And then as soon as I'm done shaving, I like to rinse my head with cold water And then I use the plastic packaging that the razor head came in as a little squeegee to scrape all the water back into the sink so I don't have a giant mess everywhere. And yeah, looking through to make sure I got everything. And then, yeah, drying my head with a clean towel every time. And I change the razor head about every 2 months. Anytime I feel like I'm not getting a close shave or getting any nick when I'm shaving is a good indication that it's time to change my razor head. Easy to order through the My NovoCure app or calling My NovoCure to get those new heads sent to you with an array or anything else. Then when it comes time to actually put my new arrays on after my 2 to 4 to 12-hour break, whatever it happens to be, I like to use witch hazel instead of alcohol because it's a little more moisturizing and still does a great job cleaning. And then I use a piece of cardboard to just fan my head to dry it off a little bit before spraying some skin prep on. And then use that same cardboard to fan to dry that. I have gotten to the point where I put my own arrays on now. Part of that was out of necessity. When my wife was away for a while, she changed my arrays for me for the first 3 years. But then she had a family medical emergency that she wanted to go be with them for a while and couldn't then change my arrays. So it was a great learning opportunity for me to learn how to change my own arrays. I'm able to do so now totally independently using just the one mirror in front to get the front and 2 side arrays placed well. And then I put the back one on more just by feel and the position of where my thumbs are in relation to my ears. And then occasionally I might grab another mirror to make sure I did an okay job on the back once it's placed. But and I've cut my arrays down quite a bit. Anything that's just adhesive and not wire or electrode can be cut away to make room for a little skin imperfection or something. And you can slide it around a little bit. You don't have to be exact with the placement each and every time. And so there's a little bit of wiggle room there so that you can kind of avoid angry spots for a while if need be. You want to make sure you don't ever cover an open sore with either the adhesive or the electrode part of the array.
Torey,
Yes.
you are inspiring all of us today. Your
I'm almost.
personality, besides the information that you're providing, is just wonderful. But your personality is it's so warm, and you can tell you really like sharing this and your experience with others because you know it's going to help them. So I want to thank you for that. I do have Dr. Golden on standby who will be speaking next, but there's a couple of questions that I have for you, if I could ask you those.
Absolutely. I apologize for going so
Oh
long
no,
with
you're
that.
you're
I get
fine.
stuck into it. I get
You're,
excited.
you know what? You're fine. You're fine. And the other thing is at later towards the end of this program, Tori has been really, really kind in putting all of this information into a fact sheet, which we will have, or it already probably exists now on our website. And so Shreya will tell everyone to find that in our patient resources. So your information will keep going and going and going out to help people as well. So question for you, this is from a patient from Michigan. What's the biggest challenge with Optune for you?
Getting used to it was the biggest challenge, figuring out where to store all the things and then just simply remembering to take it with me everywhere I went. I couldn't just get off the couch and start walking to the kitchen without remembering, oh, I got to take my machine with me. Otherwise, I get a pretty good head yank or pull the machine off of wherever it was. So just simply getting used to it and having it with me all the time.
Awesome.
And then remembering to take spare batteries if I'm leaving the house for a period of time.
Okay. And that's great advice. You've got one spare battery. Can you get like another, like two
Oh,
spare batteries if you wanted?
Oh, I have 5
Oh,
batteries in
oh,
total. They give you
fantastic.
4 to start, and then I
Okay.
ask for 1 extra, and they last about 3 hours
Okay.
each, so
Oh,
you
that's
can get.
great. That's great. Really quickly, can you tell us about the wall units you were talking about?
Yes, it's just a, small device that you can plug into the wall that then you can plug directly into the Optune device so that it stops using the battery power. As
Okay.
of yet, it does not charge the battery while it's plugged in, but at least it stops using the battery
Got
while
it.
it's plugged in. So if you're going to be in place for multiple hours, I highly recommend that.
And are you one of the Optune Geo Buddy? Are you in that program? Are you one of the buddies that talks to
I
people?
I am one of the buddies. I am an official Optune Geo patient ambassador.
Awesome.
And so one of the buddies that gets to do those calls. And it's a lot of
I would
fun.
love, yeah, if I called in, I'd like to talk to you. Okay, so we do have Dr. Golden on standby. I want to thank you, Tori, so very much for sharing really helpful information. If we can, are we at all able to share your information on how to contact you?
It was on that first slide.
Okay,
I
okay,
highly recommend if you're an Optune user and want to talk to me as a buddy, I think you can specifically request that through the NovoCure site. I am happy to answer easy short questions via my
okay,
email that was listed on the beginning though as well.
awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Tori. All
Thank you for the
right. If
opportunity
we,
to talk, Delan.
oh, yes, we'll give you lots of opportunities. You're great. Thank you.